Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's State of the Yankees. This is Sunday, September 23rd, 2018, and we finished the weekend series of the Yankees against the Baltimore Orioles. So let's start things off on a happy note. Congratulations, New York Yankees. We've clinched a playoff spot. I realize everyone would have preferred to have completely dominated Boston Red Sox this year and be claiming the division. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. However, let's not understate how huge it is to be in the playoffs. All of 5 out of 15 teams even make the playoffs. It's 1 in 3. So you've got 10 teams that are going to be sitting home watching us play. Wahoo. Yes! Okay. Having said that, let's take a quick look at why we are going to be going into the wild card game and not the division series right off the bat. Fundamentally, the Yankees are 10 games back of the Boston Red Sox at 95 and 60, while Boston's at 105 and 50. Why? Because we pretty much have not played up to the same caliber against our own division. Okay, we went 39-30 against the AL East this year, while Boston went 49-20. That 10-game differential is the same 10 games back we are right now against Boston. If you want to win the division, you gotta beat your division rivals, especially when you enter a division against Tampa, Toronto, and Baltimore. Baltimore having the absolute worst record in the entire Major League Baseball this year. And the fact that we struggled to take 2 out of 3 against them this weekend, it just shows how inconsistent we've been in the second half of the season. First half of the season, no problem. We were as dominant as Boston, going 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3 in almost every series going into the All-Star break. And we were we were neck and neck with Boston. And then second half of the season, we just forget how to play baseball, going very inconsistent, being hot one day, cold the next. It's just the erratic inconsistency of our teams, why we are 10 games back. However, despite that, we are still in the playoffs, and that is huge. You definitely don't want to be on the other side of that. Going into this next week, we're going to be playing Tampa and Boston. Boston has absolutely nothing to play for right now, and having not done very well against Cleveland and losing 2 out of 3 to Houston, they're just in tune-up mode. They're not concerned about how well they finish because they know it's inevitable. They're going to finish in the top spot. They're 8 games ahead of Houston. They're definitely getting number 1 seed. There's no question about that. They're just too good of a team to not finish number 1. And it's kind of irrelevant to us because we have to win the wild card game before we worry about Boston anyway. The Yankees, in their inconsistency, have played up to their competition, taking 2 out of 3 from Atlanta, 5 out of 7 from Houston, and 5 out of 7 from Cleveland. When we're playing good teams, we rise to the occasion and we dominate. We win games, and that's what you want to do. Unfortunately, in the second half of the season, we've also played down to our competition, falling in majority of games to the Mets, Miami Marlins, and Baltimore Orioles, not particularly top caliber teams, and yet somehow they've come in and pushed us around. It's the good, the silver lining in that is the fact that you're going into the playoffs, which means you're going up against the best of the best in the playoffs. Those weak teams are out, they're gone, they're history. So when we go in against the Oakland Athletics, who we are 3-3 again this year, 2 out of 3 at home. We've dropped 2 out of 3 in Oakland. It's very much a mixed bag, and I'll be happy to get into a review and predictions and breakdown of the wildcard game next week. However, this week we came in on a high note, taking 2 out of 3 against Boston, and then clinching wildcard game with 2 out of 3 against Baltimore. Some player notes going into this week. We may have lost Didi Gregorius for the rest of the season with the injury he sustained on Saturday. We are most likely going to have J. Happ pitch the wildcard game, And that's good news in a sense, because the options really were Severino, Tanaka, and Happ. And Happ we got in the second half of the season in an trade deadline trade with Toronto to bring him in, and he's been absolutely stellar for us. He's gone 6-0 since he's been with us. He's been .50 ERA, a sub 1 run per 9 innings in his last 3 starts. He's given up all of 2 runs in 23 innings of pitching, including today's game. Today going 5 innings, 1 run. He's definitely hitting his stride at the right time, coming into his own, and definitely going to give you a lot of confidence going into any start he has. The concern I have is the fact that you're going into a team that know how to work the pitch count. And when you're working the pitch count against Happ and you get his numbers up, he's going to be out of the game soon, and then you need to go to your big guns to close out the game, assuming you have a lead by that point. However, he's going to give you probably the best showing you're going to get. Because the other 2 options are Tanaka, which has played well in the second half, but was very wildly inconsistent and unreliable in the first half. Severino, the exact opposite. He went to a screaming 18-2 in the first half and just couldn't find his game for 2 months in the second half of the season. He's played okay in September, but when you have a winner-take-all, one game to decide who goes to the division series, you don't mind putting a Severino or Tanaka into a division series, because it's not going to be the end of the season if you lose. You got to win 3 out of 5 there. In a one-game take-all, J-Hab makes a lot of sense. Whether or not I personally, subjectively like it is kind of irrelevant. Objectively, they're putting you want to give your team the very best chance possible to win and move on. And assuming the Yankees can secure that home field advantage, you got Happ going on there in Yankee Stadium. You're giving yourself the best chance possible to go up to Fenway and knock those Sox around the club, their own house. Other players to keep an eye on. Gary Sanchez has been stated he will be. Aaron Boone has stated he will start the wildcard game. That is a grave concern. He has got a 184 batting average in September, a 2-something for the season. He leads the league in passed balls. That means his defense is absolutely horrendous. When you've got pitchers who are trying to expand the strike zone, throwing wide, throwing low, throwing high, and he can't catch balls outside of the strike zone, that lets players get on base, that lets players move forward. I mean, it's just, if you can't handle the job of catching, that's scary. And he's leading the league with 14 pass balls. Now, we're also going to be potentially having lost Didi for the wildcard game. You're talking about a 286 hitter with 27 home runs and 86 RBIs. Now, considering how deep we are, can we still win? Sure. But that will get felt. That lack of production definitely hurts when you're trying to make a lineup as scary as possible to the opposition. A lineup that you're not walking people to get to a better situation for the pitcher. For example, if you walk Judge, who do you got behind him? A slumping Stanton, a Sanchez who isn't hitting. I mean, yeah, they're going to give Judge a walk because you know you can end the inning and get out of the jam. But if you've got somebody who's pitching, who's hitting well, like an Andujar or Gleyber Torres behind Judge, it's a lot more difficult decision whether or not to pitch to him or not, because then you've got people behind him who are going to move him over. You've got RBI kings and home run leaders, Yankee leaders, not Major League leaders in batting, to come in behind them. I mean, it makes it a much different conversation for a pitcher to whether to pitch to or to walk Judge and other top flight elite players on our roster. Now, speaking of Judge, he is still getting up to speed. He hasn't performed well since being rejuvenated from the DL. However, he is still a threat. His presence is still a threat to the enemy. Therefore, I would be happy to take some sac fly RBIs or walks from Judge. I would love the home runs and the doubles and the triples, but expectations have to be set objectively here. We want the team to win. How much can you expect from Judge remains to be seen. This next week, as he continues to get up to speed and get with things, will determine how much he may or may not be able to do in the wild card. So I would love to get any of your thoughts, your comments, suggestions, anything on your mind about the upcoming week and preparation for the wild card game. I'm thoroughly looking forward to the upcoming games, especially the wild card, and anything you might have on your mind. Please feel free to share your thoughts, your comments in the section below. And until next time, have a great one.